Hi there. Today is starting off to be a better day. Um, I am on cycle day 6. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yes, today is cycle day 6. This is Lupron 14. Um, I am waiting to hear from my reproductive endocrinologist, which should be today. I'm going to send a message in my portal just to get some clarification on some things and to see if I will officially be on the roster for IVF at the end of this month. So, I actually want to talk about two things in this entry slash episode: anxiety and expenses. So, there are a couple of things that I have going on, I would guess, behind this scene. And I want to be a little bit transparent about it, but also protective about it. I don't want to share anything that can be manipulated or used in a fashion that is abusive, because we should all be protective of ourselves. And even though with transparency and being honest and sharing this journey with the world as it's seen, I still want to be real, authentic, genuine, yet offer a true perspective, because a lot of women have things that we deal with and we don't necessarily talk about, but it's a component of our journey because other people have or probably have the same issues. My anxiety is an issue. It's an issue only because I recognize it, and there are, what should I say? There are certain factors and certain triggers that come into play. And I got a hold of mine before the IVF journey. Which is why I continue to go to therapy. It's like a check-in, it's like a checks and balance, it's a mental break, it's venting, and it's a healthy forum for which someone knows what's been going on, what's happening, and gives me a professional perspective from a health professional that is in psychology. There was a point where he recommended that I go see a psychiatrist, and just to deal with some things that maybe wasn't in his scope, but to get a better perspective on my anxieties. These are things that stem from childhood, adolescence, and how I have formed as an adult because of those things. So I have formulas and I have methods of dealing with them. Some are suffering from deep rooted anxieties, and some people, can't function. The blessing with me is that I can function. I can recognize my anxieties and I can point them out, and I can immediately identify triggers. And sometimes it takes me a minute, and I will do an introspection. I will sit back and wait. And I think that's why one of my friends calls me Polite Patty. That's hilarious. But it's true. And she's like, you're so polite. She says, I'm just quick to cut people off, and I'm quick to, detour a situation before it even goes there. And I protect myself that way. And sometimes I wish I were that way, but sometimes I guess I take liabilities to the extent that I want to make sure that I do it the right way, speak in the right way, and no matter how another person behaves, I don't want to behave in a way that brings me down to their level. So I take speaking to people in love probably to an extreme until I blow. But I guess I always want to make sure that something was handled in the best way possible. And sometimes they can't be. You can be the nicest person, you can be the most loving and giving person, and still others are abusing you, and you need to check that crap. And sometimes I have not always been expedient about that. And sometimes I guess I'm so polite to where people have seen that and they're like, oh, well, she ain't gonna snap off. Oh, she ain't gonna do nothing. Well, sometimes I surprise people, but I digress. I am doing a better job of taking care of myself, asserting myself, and making sure that my anxieties don't take over. So it's really a matter of balance. It's really a matter of being cognizant of them, recognizing them, and keeping them at a minimum. This is also why I try to not react. Sometimes I do. However, in this IVF journey, triggers come and they come fast. And I have to be protective, even with the people that I know, even with the people that I love, because if someone who says they love me, I have expectations of what that love should look and feel like. And I have every right to call it out if it doesn't feel right, if it doesn't look right. Some people will take that and they will flip it on you, and they will make you think that it's you. Yesterday, I got a phone call, and it was a profuse apology. She admitted that what I was saying that she did and what happened, she admitted that she understood why I felt the way I did. She apologized for rejecting the fact that I was speaking to her about it. And she went clean off on me. She apologized because she said she just didn't know why she went off on me that way. She said it was uncalled for. She said that she's added stress to an already stressful situation. And she was very apologetic. And I accepted her apology, and I thanked her for calling and taking ownership and acknowledging that that conversation was completely left. And she also admitted that I was only trying to tell her how I felt, and she rejected that also. So she apologized for that. So I always appreciate that. But it just goes to show that had I stepped to her in the wrong way, I still could have been right about how I felt, but I probably would not have gotten that acknowledgement and apology, because it's all about how you approach people. And it doesn't always work. You can approach a person in the most nicest, softest, ginger way. And if they don't want to hear the truth about what they did, they just don't want to hear it. So it felt good to get that apology and acknowledgement. So I'm moving forward and I'm moving past it. I just want to make sure that I protect and take care of me. That was paramount in this situation. And unfortunately, sometimes we have to confront people that we like and that we love and that we have been around. And it makes the friendship or the connection or the acquaintance uncomfortable. And sometimes that's just the price. I don't like throwing people away. I don't want anybody to throw me away, but I'm important, and I will always be important to me. And if that means that, I'm coming off with airs, then so be it. Everybody has a right to flaunt their own, and so I will flaunt mine just as much. I'm important to me, and I'm the only person that puts me first. I am no one's priority. There is nobody that's checking for me. There is nobody that's taking care of me. There is no one that is walking this earth, waking up saying, what's going on with Kim? How's Kim? There's no one to do that. There's no one at the end of the day saying to themselves, did I take care of Kim? Did I see about Kim? There's no one doing that. I am no one's priority. So guess what? I have to do it. And even if it comes off wrong, if it comes off a little bit brash, then pardon my imbalance, but I don't care. Sorry, not sorry is where that would go, what would fit right here. So since I'm no one's priority, I'm damn well going to be my own, and I'm going to make sure that I do that. Moving forward to the next topic, I want to talk about expenses. So I was expecting to do a fresh transfer, meaning the egg retrieval, embryo day one, the eggs were fertilized. That happened successfully. Some growth was there. One was frozen. The other one did not, the one that did not grow, the one that arrested in growth and eventually perished, that was disposed of. So that third day was not a good day to do a transfer because my uterine lining wasn't in sync with the embryo. They have to match in stages. My uterus was not in a stage of receiving the embryo, so it was frozen. Because of that, that egg was put into cryopreservation. Cryopreservation is not covered by insurance. Cryopreservation is $1,200 to start. And if I am correct with my memory, it's after that it's $500 a year. I have to double check that, but that's what I'm remembering. That is an expense that comes immediately, and it comes directly out of my pocket. Insurance has no part of it. So, it is imperative that you keep a zero balance at most times, for the most part, when you're doing IVF. At my particular institute, that is just their financial policy. So I have to be expedient and I have to be fervent about making my payments and keeping those expenses under control. So I would just admonish everyone to keep in mind that sometimes there are unexpected expenses. Sometimes you'll know about an expense, but you'll think you'll be going in one direction and you end up going in another. So had I done a fresh transfer, that $1,200 would not have been billed. So it's just a part of the journey. It just makes sense to have some money stashed. It makes sense to just be prepared. There are some things that are out of our control, and that happens. I am with an office that is very thorough, and their policies are in place. As long as there's communication and as long as there's effort on both parts, I have no issue, and they will have no issue. So it just depends on who you're with, and it depends on what facilities, and insurances that you have that work together for certain things, claims, and coverage. I just want women to know and be prepared. Being prepared is one of the most important aspects of IVF. And when I'm saying be prepared, I'm also meaning for the unexpected, meaning you may not be ready to handle something right away, but mentally understand that you have to have some fluidity with it, because things won't always go in the fashion of what you think. You'll start off wanting to do this procedure in one way and something happens. So the unexpected, the uncertainty, this makes it all so very heavy. And this is why I'm very protective of myself, because it's heavy. Excuse me. And it's a lot to ingest. It's a lot to swallow. It's a lot going on. And it's not to say that it cannot be done or you don't want to do it or you shouldn't do it. This is not a warning. It's just a simple sharing of information. This can be done. You can do it. If I can do it by myself, single woman, public commuter, it can be done. The only thing that I would change about this is my support system, my physical, close, immediate support system. Online support, not a problem. Got that wrapped. So I am fine with my life in the way it is. I mean, I live in Chicago. You don't have to have a car. It would be convenient, but I've driven for years. I sold my car a couple of years ago because it just didn't make any sense with me being a nanny and families that were providing transportation or cars. I just didn't need it. So things will get done. Plan for logistics. Think ahead. Be prepared for things to go left, but they will always be right for you. Because if you're meant to do it, it's going to happen. I'll talk to y'all later.